Hi Stampers, this is Kim with Great Inspirations. Thank you for joining me. Today I thought we would take a look at the Tulip Fields Bundle. This bundle is featured in the Stampin' Up! January through June 2021 mini catalog. It's part of a larger suite that contains 2 bundles, some designer series paper, ribbon, and some embellishments. But today I thought we would just talk about the bundle. And here are 3 cards that I made using this bundle. Another thing I created using the bundle is this little treat box. Has the windmills on each side. And then there's a little box inside to put a little treat in there. To give to someone, or I thought these would look really cute on if you have like a dinner or something at a church, or maybe some kind of a wedding shower, baby shower, you know, depending on the theme. But I just thought these would be really cute, or maybe even at work for a staff meeting, you could put these all around with a little treat in them. So there is that. Now this box, the idea for it came from a fellow demonstrator named Carol Parsons, and on my blog I will have the link to her blog post where she gives instructions on how she made her box. Mine is just a little different, so on my blog there will be instructions for this box. And like I said, Carol is where I saw this first. There are other samples out there, other people have made them, but I saw Carol's first, so I will link you to her blog. So there's just that little box. But then here are the cards, and as you can see, this is the same windmill that I used to make the box. I've just used it on a card. And then these windmills, this one was simply stamped, and then this one was stamped and die cut. So let's just take a look here at the stamps and the dies. Here's the Tulip Fields stamp set. Has some rows of tulips, a tree, little bushes, the windmill, and some clouds, and this nice little design for a border. The dies, die cut the clouds, these little bushes right here in the clouds, and this windmill. But they also have, oh, and the tree, there's the tree. But they also have dies to assemble a windmill, and dies for a little fence, a little row of tulips, and this bicycle die. So first let's look at these cards in a little bit more detail. Here's this one. Here's the little die cut fence pieces and the die cut clouds and the die cut windmill. And then for the Tulip Fields, I used these 2 stamps. Now for this card, I just used blending brushes and some blues. I think I used Misty Moonlight and a little Balmy Blue. And then I stamped my windmill image. That is in Pacific Point. My hello is stamped in Pacific Point. That is from the Timeless Tulips stamp set. I of course just had a little 3/4 inch circle that I die cut that I used to mask to make a sun, and these birds, they are from the Sailing Home stamp set. And then down here I stamped some flowers, and those are actually from the Painted Poppies stamp set. And then this blue twine, it is Misty Moonlight, and it is in the mini catalog, and it is the fan twine. It comes in a package with 3 different colors of twine. So there's that one. And then for this one, this is the designer series paper that is part of the suite, and it is called Flowering Fields, the same name as the suite. I just used a piece of that for the background. Stamped and mounted my greeting, and then I put my windmill together and put it on here using dimensionals. So let's talk just a little bit about this stamp and this stamp. That they are the ones that you use to stamp the tulip field. And they're rather large, so you will need block I and block E, or a stamp positioning tool such as Stampin' Up's Stamparatus. That will just make it so much easier to stamp. And I'm going to show you. Now, it doesn't matter if you have your cardstock in the portrait position or in a, landscape orientation or a portrait orientation. That'll work either way. So today we'll do the portrait orientation, and I'm going to use some Bumblebee. Just happen to have it out. We'll ink up this stamp. And of course you'd want to decide where on your cardstock you want your tulip field. I'm just going to go right about here. And then we're going to use this one, the stamp right here, to add to the rows of tulips. Just ink it up. And this is a specific point. And I'm going to line the point of this stamp up right in between those 2 points and stamp. And then all you do is you stamp here and stamp here. You just stamp around, fill in here and here. And I'm going to do that, but I'm not, you can change colors. I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue with the Pacific point. Just kind of line it up right there at the corner or in the center as best you can and stamp. And we're going to do it again right in here and stamp. And we'll do the other side. I'm making a mess on my block, aren't I? And there's how you do that. Now, if you want, you can fill in the white areas. If you don't quite care for that, you can fill that in, and that's exactly what I did. I just used some seafoam green ink on a blending brush and went and filled that in. So that is how you stamp with those two stamps. So we'll put this away, and now let's talk about the dies for just a little bit. Better close up my ink or I will have ink everywhere. Now when you're die cutting this image to form your windmill, like I did here, it's no issue, none at all, because it just cuts a really nice piece. Like this. And actually this one I've stamped with this stamp on there to get some color, because that's what I used in the back of the windmill. But like I said, this one is no issue at all. The issue comes in with this one. These are very, very delicate. And for the most part, when you run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or your die cut machine, they will come right out. If they do not, just need to take your pick tool with this brush add-on. And then of course it also comes with 2 of these mats, and you would just lay this piece, which this one, all the pieces are removed, but just lay it on there and go over it gently, and they will come out. And the ones that are a little more stubborn, you can use the piercing tool, take your pick tool and just punch them out. Now, this, as you can see, it's really tiny, and it would be difficult to get glue on there. So I thought, well, I will use my adhesive sheets, these, and all you do is you cut your cardstock to the size you want, and you cut this the exact same size as your cardstock. Peel off one side, put it on the back of your cardstock, and then when you run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, then there will be another side that you can peel off, and hopefully this will cooperate and come off. There we go. And then all you have to do is adhere it, just press it right on to the one you want to back it. And then this die cut piece doesn't have the little hole that this one has. So if you want to attach the blades, you can use your piercing mat and the piercing tool to just make a little hole, put a brad through. Now, this die and this bicycle die, they're quite intricate. They have very intricate little pieces. So that's when I usually recommend to use the adhesive sheets. However, what I found, the adhesive sheets work fairly well with this. I had to do a little more poking out than I did when I just ran basic white cardstock through. But the bicycle was quite another issue. It's just so many tiny pieces, and my bicycle was being just torn to bits when I was trying to poke out all these little pieces and then peel off the adhesive sheet. So I just decided, for me, the best thing to do if I want a little bicycle is to just use this with my liquid glue, or you could use the fine tip glue pen, or any other system you found that works well with your very intricate die cuts. Now, for these cute little tulips right here, this is what's cut out, and they do interlock. And actually, I'm going to show you a card that I made that I probably won't send anybody because I really don't like the way it turned out. But here are these little tulips, and you can see how they interlock. But I was silly and I didn't use my adhesive sheets, so I had to get glue on every one of these little every one of the little flowers to get it on there. So I thought, oh, how silly. I could use the adhesive sheets, and guess what? They work really, really well on this particular die. Cut it out, and then, oh, I've lost my little piece of paper that I was going to put it on. Oh, here we go. We'll use this. Can cut it out. with the adhesive on the back, and it just goes on perfect. That's great. So that's my little tip for the little tulip. Now as for the blades on the windmill, this die cuts really well. Now I did not use the adhesive sheets on it because I'm going to attach it, you know, with a brad. But it cuts out really well. The only thing with the basic white, I would recommend that you use basic white thick because it just gives the blades a little more sturdiness. So there's some tips and for using these Windmill Fields dies. And we've talked a little bit about how to use these two stamps. Let's bring the cards back in. And here, I'll even bring back in my card I don't like. So, there you go. That is the Tulip Fields Bundle. Now, all the supplies I used to make these cards, with the exception of this one, will be on my blog. All the measurements, everything I used, that's where you'll find it. And that will be listed in the description of this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, stamp happy.